Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. We're going to take a look at the Queen Elizabeth University Hospital in Glasgow. It is a huge white elephant. Everything that could possibly have gone wrong with this hospital has gone wrong with this hospital. Even during the construction, the builders said that there was a massive fungal infection, that there was dead pigeons in the water supply, that they were using the wrong kind of air conditioning ducts. Everything. And nothing was done about it. The ministers knew and chose to ignore the problems, thinking that they would no longer be the minister when they all come out, and so they wouldn't be held responsible. People would die, of course. People have died, including children. But on top of that, they've hired private investigators to investigate the patients and the relatives of the patients who died. They've got a chief executive who's got 10 jobs and works about 2 hours a month at the hospital. No one's taking responsibility. And things are only getting worse. Every single day there is worse and worse to come. Now we have a story here which I would like to say you couldn't believe it. You wouldn't believe it. But alas, you probably will, because it's just indicative of everything that is going wrong within the NHS in Scotland at the behest of the SNP, who quite literally don't care. And this is another one where Michael Matheson is failing to do his job. Let's go. So the SNP's NHS chaos as patients at the flagship Glasgow hospital are moved to corridors and given a doorbell to ring for attention. This was supposed to be the biggest, best hospital in the whole of Scotland and serving Glasgow well. And it's so overrun because they can't get enough people, enough beds, enough staff. And they're now just dumping people in corridors and giving them bells to ring. Please, please help me. Please, can I have some water? I've been here 48 hours and I'm in agony. Will somebody do something? It's like a leper colony in there. How bad does it have to get before people say enough and stop voting for the NHS, stop voting for the SNP to destroy the NHS? The Scottish Government is presiding over long A&E waiting times once again, ahead of a harsh winter. And it's not winter yet. This is the thing. It's bad now. It's record-busting waiting times now. And it's not even winter yet. So how bad is it going to get? The Queen Elizabeth University Hospital is moving patients into corridors to try and lower waiting times. Basically, if they can get them out of A&E, it means that they can, go, oh yes, well that one's gone. That helps our waiting time. But that only helps the waiting time in A&E. They're not going on to a ward. They're literally being shuffled out of A&E on a trolley and put in a corridor. At least they're out of A&E. Tick. They're not being treated. They're not on the ward. They're not receiving any kind of help or any kind of medication or any kind of, repair to their body or whatever they've done to themselves. No. But at least they're out of A&E and that helps their numbers. It's a trick. It's smoke and mirrors again, because they've got to lie about how useless they are to try and make themselves look slightly less than sheerly incompetent and shit, basically. Concerns have been raised about the safety of patients in a flagship Glasgow hospital after it was revealed they were being moved into corridors and given wireless doorbells to call for help in emergencies. This is being done to cut the extensive waits in A&E over the difficult winter months in the NHS. Yes, because if not there, you cut the list. It's not actually helping anyone. It's just moving the problem further down the sausage factory line. So there's no wait time. Look how much better we're doing in A&E. Oh, has the patient been treated? No, but he's in a different room waiting. He's in a different waiting room. Look, he's over there. He's not in here now, so in here is looking good, isn't it? Meanwhile, you can't go up a corridor because it's stuffed full of people, stuffed full of people, dying. Some of them will die in those corridors. Ringing a bell, ding, 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 but no help will come. Anyway, new figures published on Tuesday showed that the number of people waiting more than 8 hours at A&E had increased again to the highest level since January, according to Public Health Scotland. 3,818 patients waited more than 8 hours in the week to December the 10th, rising by almost 1,000 in 1 week from 2,833. That's how bad it's getting. It's going up by 1,000 in a week. How bad is it going to be in winter? Don't have an accident. Don't go to hospital. It's pointless. You're never going to be seen. And if you are seen, it's only to put you on a trolley to wheel you out into the corridor. Here's a bell, love. Ding, 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 ding. Unbelievable. Do you remember that scene in Breaking Bad? And you had the old Italian mafia guy in his wheelchair, and he'd had the stroke, and all he could do was ring the bell. That's what it's going to be like up that corridor. Ding, 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 ding. Hundreds of people just dinging the bell, and no one coming. It's hell on earth. And trust me, I've been in a hospital that's been bad, and it is absolute hell when no one comes. The statistics have not been this bad since early January, where more than 4,000 people waited that long. And only 60.9% of people attending A&E were seen within the 4-hour target. Staff at the QEUH even have raised concerns about the placing of unwell patients into corridors, because it's got to be a crime against humanity, surely. Not providing adequate healthcare is a crime. According to the Daily Mail, workers have been complaining about this policy on a Facebook page for them. One wrote, in some wards, they've started giving doorbells to press if they need a nurse. All of this to make the numbers and statistics look better within the emergency department. This system moves people from A&E into wards for further treatment, even if a bed is not available. Yes, they get them out of A&E. Oh, look, A&E's brilliant now, isn't it? No. Patients are still not being treated. They're just not being treated in a different location. It is appalling. Absolutely appalling. The numbers shouldn't represent how many people are in A&E. They should be representative how many people have come to A&E, less how many have been discharged, less how many have been admitted to a ward. It's the ward admittance number. That difference is going to be way, way worse than the 3,000 odds that they're saying. Because if you've got all these people waiting in corridors, add them to the A&E waiting time list. I guarantee it would be the worst numbers ever. Patients are being put onto trolleys to wait in corridors with a privacy screen and a wireless doorbell supplied, and while they wait for a bed to open up. Basically waiting for generally someone to cark it through the night, aren't they? The doorbells are so they can call for medical attention, as the trolleys are not linked to the hospital's call system. Ding, 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 ding. Give that to Granny. See how she likes it. Staff are concerned whether the new policy is in line with patients' right to safe, dignified and equitable healthcare. There's nothing dignified lying there in a corridor with a fucking doorbell. It is a crime against humanity. Opposition critics have blasted the SNP for presiding over chaos in the NHS, but it is deliberate. They've known. People tell them, and they still won't put the money in because they've got to wank it away on foreign embassies. But no, don't want to care for people. This is how bad it is. Scottish Labour Health spokesman Dame Jackie Bailey said, it is very concerning to hear reports of nursing staff being deeply worried for the well-being of patients at Glasgow's QEUH. The SNP government needs to wake up to the chaos in their hospitals now and support our heroic NHS staff. Chaos that they, of course, have deliberately created. Scottish Conservative Health spokesman Dr Sandy Escalating said frontline staff at Glasgow's flagship hospital are clearly being pushed beyond breaking point due to a lack of support from the SNP. Successive SNP health secretaries have failed to ensure A&E wait times have not spiralled out of control, and my dedicated colleagues are now having to resort to drastic measures. Be aware, this is not the fault of the hospital. This is not the fault of the staff, at least. The staff are doing their very best with almost no resources, with no help, with very little given in the way of support. So the very fact that people are getting into the hospital to sit on a corridor is a sign of the dedication of the staff. Let's not, make bones about this. They're very hard working, they're very dedicated. This is simply a lack of the SNP giving them sufficient resources to be able to do the job. But also it doesn't help that the entire cock-up of the hospital being built the way it was and how it was absolutely isn't helping. Whole wards closed, unusable, simply because the SNP couldn't be bothered to clean up the mess and the problem during its construction. A spokesman for NHS Greater Glasgow and Clyde said, we would like to apologise to anyone who's had to wait longer than they would have expected. The continuous flow model is based on similar models which have been introduced in other sites throughout the UK. He added the system has already had a positive effect. in freeing up emergency department space. It's not freeing up. This is the line of bullshit that they're pushing. It's not freeing up emergency space. You're just pushing the people up a corridor. You're just extending the size of the emergency room from a room to a corridor. Those people still aren't being treated. Therefore, they're still in the emergency room, regardless of what you say and call it. You're cheating your numbers, but that's it. It's smoke and mirrors, and you're lying and you're cheating to try and make it look as though it's not a complete and utter fuck up. But it clearly is. And this is management. The staff are doing their best. The management and the SNP are bullshitting over it to try and make it look as though it isn't as bad as it truly is. And you can clearly see it is as bad as it truly is. I'm coming up. So winter officially starts on Friday. That's the 22nd. That's the solstice. At that point, you're into winter. And at that point as well, the problem in all hospitals are going to get worse. It always does in winter. And if you are already putting people and shoving people up corridors, how bad is that going to get in a week, a month, 6 weeks? Middle of February, peak time, all the accidents, old people falling over, car crashes. What's going to happen? This hospital will have to close. It will quite literally be closed for business. People who are there will just work through the system. They literally will not be able to take any more human beings into that hospital because it's so badly managed and so massively under-resourced by a government that cares more for shiny little prospectuses and little brochures and little offices in little countries than it does for the very people it is supposed to be there to represent, help and assist. It's a failure of government, and it's a failure, basic of ethics, of morality, of humanity. And it goes to show exactly what the SNP think of people. And it isn't very much, is it? Anyway, I'll stop there. Thank you very much for watching. Do try and avoid going to hospital. Don't do anything stupid. Don't put yourself at risk, because you could be waiting there a long time and people will be literally dying around you. Till next time, stay safe, stay well, and I will speak to you later. Bye.